I'm Lauren from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a detailed look at the Bellroy Classic Weekender, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. The outside of this Weekender is fairly simple, so we're just going to walk through a couple of different features here. This is a 45-liter Weekender. This is essentially a duffel bag, but it has a little bit more of like a sleek look to it that you would see, you might recognize from like other Bellroy products. So we have a Bellroy little accent here on the front, nice and subtle. And then if you turn this guy around here, this is technically the back side of the Weekender, and this is a luggage pass-through. It is really, really sturdy. You can see the like bar tack stitching on either side here. It's not really beefy. So, you know, something with this size, you might expect to see something a little bit larger, but this one, you know, it is fairly sturdy, so I didn't have any issues with that. You can see like the actual material itself is pretty sturdy as well. And then we have on the top here, you can see these beefy zipper pulls here. Lift these up a little bit closer so you can see them. That makes it nice and easy to grab the zippers and open the main compartment. And then on the sides, we have these two grab handles. So that's one, that's the other. And you can see that this is actually a buckle that goes onto that grab handle. And that's so if you kind of looking at it from the front here, if you were to, you know, unbuckle those, it creates a sort of like, almost looks like it has ears, and this helps you open the Weekender to pack it a little bit easier, but it does lock down nice and easy on those side handles. You can do it even without looking, and so that kind of streamlines the look a little bit, but then makes it easy. So this, if this is like in your car or something, you can grab onto that carry handle, that grab handle on the side, and just kind of yank it out of your car. So pretty easy to carry this thing around even despite its large size. In terms of carry options here, you have 3 different ways to carry it, which I'll show you in a second, but it is a really comfortable carry. So like I mentioned, it is a fairly large Weekender, but you have these nice, really sturdy carry handles. They're really soft, like nylon feeling material, and it's just easy to grab them, you know, kind of haul this however and wherever you need to. And you do have a decent amount of room to work with. You can see there's like a lot of height on there. So you can like stick your arm through it if you want to, you know, carry it kind of like on your elbow if you want a little bit of extra support. In general though, very comfortable. And then you also have this shoulder strap. So I found the shoulder strap to be really, really comfortable. It looks kind of thin considering its size, but it is really like a soft padding on this side that's actually going to be touching your shoulder. And then it's pretty sturdy up here as well, but it is like, you know, there's a little bit of an edge here, but not much. And so, you know, no matter how much gear I had in here, this was pretty comfortable to carry. And then this is removable. You just have these little hooks here, and those, you know, attach and detach pretty easily from the side. So, you know, you have a few different options of how you want to carry this. But I did find that like with this being across the actual pack itself, it was a little bit annoying to get in and out of that main zipper, but I'll show you how all of this looks on. So starting off with the first way to carry this, you can just carry it over one shoulder, fairly simple, fairly easy. You know, it's large like you would traditionally see a duffel or a Weekender of this size. Or if you wanted to give yourself a little extra support, you can just put it over the other side of your shoulder and it kind of balances it out. This is adjustable as well, so if you wanted to kind of fix that up to be whatever length you want to sit a little higher or lower, that is an option as well. This padding doesn't move, but I found it to be pretty comfortable regardless. Or, you know, you can just carry it by the carry handles. Like I said, this is a pretty large loop, so you can do it around your elbow, or you can just carry it down by your side. But no matter how you carry it, it is fairly comfortable. So first here, we're going to talk about this, really the only other pocket other than the main compartment here is this front compartment. So it's this entire front panel, essentially. It opens right on the front. There's a little bit of structure in this lip here, and that's to keep it from falling down. You can see it's like, you can see almost like the edge of, feels like almost plastic in there, but it's really bendy. And this kind of creates like a little bit of a lip to hide that zipper for aesthetic purposes. And then when you open up this compartment here, you can see that there is a lot of room to work with. So I had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this compartment. You can see that there's almost like a floor to it. And so when this main compartment was really, really packed out, it got a little bit difficult to fit things in here. But I also felt like when this main compartment wasn't packed out enough, or I didn't have a ton of stuff in there, this was almost too much space to work with. And so I didn't really find myself putting anything outside of these little slit pockets here. So we've got 2 pockets in here. I just have my phone and my wallet. I'll just take those out so you can get an idea of what the pocket looks like in there. This one is just an identical pocket. And then we have a pen loop here, a little pen pocket. This pen pocket is huge, and I don't know why. It's just like, you can fit a couple stacked next to each other almost in there. So if you're looking for something, like I have a little clip on my pen, so it stays nice and secure in there. But if you don't have a clip on your pen, just keep in mind that because that pocket's pretty big, it might slip out. So it is a nice and fairly roomy pocket. We also have a key clip in here if you want to attach your keys. This is like the ribbon material that we've gotten stuck in other zippers on Bellroy bags before. So don't really love this guy here. It feels a little bit flimsy, but it didn't get in the way, thankfully. It just kind of hangs out down low, so it didn't have any issues with it catching on the zipper. But yeah, kind of a love-hate relationship with this compartment. It just felt a little bit bigger than I needed it to be, and it didn't have as much organization as I needed for how large it was. So I would say, you know, if you're going to be using this pocket for a bunch of your tiny items, this is a really good spot to like utilize extra pouches or things like that make it a little bit easier to find your gear when you're on the go. So now heading into the main compartment. So looking at it again from this side, you can see these edges here are nice and pinned down. It gives it more of a sleek look, but you can also see the material buckling a bit. And that was one thing that I really found with this Weekender, is that as I was packing it up, I had a really hard time, even with these being open, keeping that structure. So kind of showing you how this works here. This also, with this crossbody carry, how it hooks up gets a little bit in the way. You know, it's easy to tuck out of the way, but if you were going for like a quick unzip, you might have to mess with this a little bit, just a little finicky thing. This main zipper here has a little storm flap to keep it from, you know, taking on any water. It fits, like it stays really secure, and it covers the zipper really nicely, but it also made it a little bit hard to unzip. So you can see over on this side here, I have, you know, these YKK, they're number 10, so they're fairly beefy. And if I wanted to just pull this open, it does catch a little bit, especially where this is where that material starts to bend down regularly. And so that catches a little bit. So I found myself kind of like lifting that up almost just to open up that main compartment fully. So opening up that compartment, you can see the amount of space that gives you. So if this were, you know, normal, let's say this were a Weekender that couldn't be pinned down on either side, just as an example, you see that when you start to pack this out, you kind of get lost in these corners here. It's a little bit harder to actually get into the bag itself, versus over here, it opens a lot wider. It's a wide mouth access, so you can see a lot more of it. And so that's a huge benefit in packing something of this size, is that you're gonna be able to, you know, get in there a lot easier than other bags without this design. So it's a nice wide mouth. I've got some packing cubes in here. This packs like any other Weekender or duffel that you might be familiar with. You know, you just kind of put your stuff inside. You can either decide to do packing cubes like I have over here, or you can just stack all of your clothing. It's kind of up to you and your packing preferences. I personally just sort of stacked everything in here. You know, I visited some family, and so I was able to load this out with essentially 5 days worth of clothing, and I still had room to spare. I kind of found myself like almost trying to fill this up. With that 45 liters, you know, you have a ton of space to work with, especially if you're used to packing a little bit lighter. So if that's something that you need a lot of extra space, this is really great for that. But right now you can also see what I'm kind of talking about with those materials collapsing. So without anything to support up here, especially with there being some gear in this front compartment, and some stuff in these little back pockets too, then you can kind of see it start to like cave in on itself. And that made, here, I'll actually flip this around so you can see it from the front. It made it a little bit hard to sort of live out of, you know, like when you go somewhere, you don't feel like fully unpacking, you're sort of living out of your bag. This made that a little bit harder. And so that's something to keep in mind. And there is a little bit of structure down at the bottom here. There's a little bit of padding, but not much. You can see it's like, I don't know, maybe like half an inch or something down there. And so it doesn't really have a ton of structure on the bottom either to keep this upright. And so it just sort of like fell in on itself a lot. But you know, once it was packed out, it's pretty nice. It kind of held its structure, but without that extra packing, it's a little bit more difficult. So on the back here, you have 2 pockets for kind of whatever gear you want. You know, I've got just some like extra accessories here just for fun. Some little cat toys over here as a little gift for the little kitties in my life. And then up here I have this is a zippered pocket, which is great for like a pair of sunglasses or something. It essentially keeps it out of what Bellroy calls like the crush zone. And so if you have all your gear packed up in here and you have more sensitive items, you can put them up at the top so that it doesn't get meshed up with all of your other gear. It's not at risk of being crushed. And this does have a nice little mesh material to it, so you can really fit a fair amount of gear in there, though it is a little bit on the large side, so it can fall forward a little bit. So there you have it, the Bellroy Classic Weekender. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.